Today I wanted to talk about the concept of time in our society and civilization and the significant historic events that will define each given era. I think that future generations of people look back and associate different eras with themes. Significantly, I feel that war and revolution define given eras. If I say to you, look back at the 1960s, you associate that with things. John F. Kennedy, moon landings, cultural awakening, freedom and revolution. If I say to you the early 1900s, what do you associate that with? Colonization, industry, factories, Titanic. If I say to you, what do you associate the 1940s as? Well, that's World War. If we say, what do you associate the early 2000s as? Perhaps the War on Terror. Now we're in a new era with the war in Ukraine, another conflict in Europe. I often think these Europeans never stop killing each other. France, England, Austria, Prussia. I think in the generation we live in, World War II is the singular defining event that has created the modern society politically, border-wise, that we live in. See, time is relative. It's only in reference of your perspective how you perceive time. In a time span of 800 years, I would say that we will be remembered as the World War II post-generation. Look at all the superficial nonsense going on with social media and people spending their entire lives to have a URL associated with their name and to die, and the meaning of their life was to be existing on the cloud. Perhaps we're grieving as a society of the horrors that our grandparents went through, or for some of you, your parents, and society is adapting in the way that it can heal from trauma. World War II is at the forefront of the identity of who we are as a human race. So with all the superficial things going on and distractions and meaningless things that humans engage in the actuality of the matter, have an observation at where we are in a timeline in comparison to significant historic events. We are still in the aftermath of World War II, or just coming out of it. In fact, World War II politically leads to conflicts like Ukraine and Russia, leads to the Soviet Union, the Cold War. These wars and the borders that are made and truces that are made and conditions that are made of surrenders affect society for perhaps a century to come. Perhaps they'll look back on this era and say that was the start of the fall of the Western civilization, similar to the fall of Rome or whatnot. And they'll say, look, Christianity was still the dominant religion at 38%. What a crazy world that must have been. And all of these changes happening with people with different views going crazy. And it was the fall of the Western civilization. And look, can you still remember when England was a country? This was in 2023. I don't know what the future holds, but the similarities to pre-World War I in a more minor and restrained way are very similar. Right now you have this, and you have this. All it would take would be something like this, and you would have this, and then something like that. Humans will never stop fighting each other, whether it be differences of religion, economics, cultural, political, philosophical, or just outright stigma. I think war has defined us as a species in the last 150 years. World War II is just, I can't believe that all of that took place. I've studied World War II for 5 to 7 years of my life, on and off, and there's still always more to explore. And I think as a society, we often all too soon forget the significance of World War II. As horrible as it was, you can find some interesting neutral observations about World War II and that era of alliances and strategy and resources, the sheer amount of resources and production as a collective that humans are capable of on both sides. Let's just say, look at both sides. There's interesting things to observe and what humans are capable of. I just feel that this sort of thing could quite easily happen again looking at this map. Then they may remember that next generation for the 3 generations after as those who lived after the next Great War. Right now, we don't see that we are the generations of post-World War II, is basically the point of this video. World War II defines our society, the countries, EU, NATO, Europe, the borders of the Middle East, particularly India, Pakistan, the borders of Africa. A lot of things have been changed from World War II. European borders, and that's brought us to where we are with Russia and Ukraine. So perhaps as a society, if we can collectively look at this timeline and understand that we are World War II babies. I mean, if you look at it with the length of your hand, all that's happened since 1939, there is a lot. And I think that as we look back and go, Hannibal Barca's campaign, or ancient Egypt, era, 800 years or something. This is a significantly small amount of time from 1800 to 2022. Let's say they'll look at it from 2000 as the significant year, like the medieval era or something, or the war era or something like that. There will be some sort of name. And it's fascinating as I, as a mortal, won't be here, but I like to fantasize about how we will be perceived as ancient Egyptians or ancient Romans or more closer medieval or people from the Renaissance or people from the early 1900s. As we decay into the past, we will too be labelled people from an era and looked at upon with fascination of how our society worked. Conclusions will be made, hypotheses will be made, and will be generalised according to conflicts of our eras. And World War II is the conflict of our era, which has created many, many wars and societies since. Oh, well, have a good day, and remember to look on YouTube. There's a lot to discover out there, and it's just amazing that we have this accessibility to information. Knowledge is power. It's the best drug, and I encourage you all to liberate yourselves amongst knowledge of modern history.